Kia ora koutou. Hello everyone, I'm Paolo Bertolin, the Artistic Director of Marama, New Zealand International Film Festival 2024. We are continuing our series of interviews with directors who are presenting their films at the festival, and today I'm very happy to have with us the director of the film Sex, Dag Johan Haugerud. Thank you for accepting this invitation, Dag Johan.
Yeah, and hello.
And yeah, the film was a big hit this year at the Berlinale, and it's the first installment of a trilogy, but maybe Dag Johan will tell us something about that. And as I do with all directors, I would like to start this conversation by asking you if you could tell us how you would describe the film in your own words, both in terms of its theme or narrative and your approach as director. Thank you so much.
Yeah, as I see it, it's kind of a comedy drama about sexuality and identity. That would be that's the main topics of the film. It's also a film about parenting and about religion and about really how we talk to each other. But I think that's the main theme for all my films, really. But if I should just mention my main topics, it would be how every person's sexuality differs from the other, and how we sometimes also can make a distinction between sexuality and sexual identity. I think that's two different things, and that's why I'm trying to show in the film. And you also asked me about my approach as director. I always start out by choosing the actors and writing for the actors and trying to to develop characters that challenge in the actors, because most of them I've worked with before and I know them quite well, and I know them from the stage because they are all stage actors. And I think it's very interesting to try to develop our collaboration so it can, take different ways and see how far they could go, how different they can approach different roles and characters. So that's really my main drive in the beginning, at least.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Going a little bit deeper in the creative aspect, can you tell us something about the writing process? Because yeah, you just said that you start with the actors as well, but your films are always very intelligent and thoughtful, deep dialogues that can be very entertaining, but are also very insightful. And Sex is definitely a very hilarious film, but also provides a lot of food for thought. So how is it that you write your dialogues? Are there sources of inspirations? Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. Very kind words. But well, I write a lot as I go along. I write a lot. I write diary a lot, and I read a lot, and I write small notes for myself, and I listen a lot to conversations in the public area, and all these small things turn out to ideas for me. So I think I use literature. I use sequences from other films and so on, probably like most directors do. And then I think in a way all the films are about me, because it's about the things I'm interested and concerned about. But then I have the actors in mind when I write. So the dialogue, it's quite close to how how the actors actually speak. So I always have the actors' voices in my head when I'm writing. I find that quite inspiring and fun to work with as well. And I also use music a lot and lyrics from pop songs and so on. as an inspiration, and I listen to music as I write. And I think that gives the writing some kind of rhythm that is that probably changes throughout. But when I start writing, I think that's quite important, and I think that's quite makes it more fun for me as well.
And oh, sorry, please.
Yeah, because when I write the first script or the first draft, I take it to the actors and we read it through, and then I go back and rewrite it as many times as possible, really. And I think it gets better the more I do it, and the actors also gets more involved the more they can read and the more they can give feedback. That doesn't mean it's really kind of a democratic collaboration, because all the ideas that they, all the feedback, maybe I choose to take some in, but not all of it. So it's not really, you can say that writing is not a democratic process.
I'm curious to know your take on the subject of the film, actually, going back to what you were saying earlier, the distinction between sexuality and sexual identity. It feels this film is really about male identity and male sexuality as a part of what is supposed to be a trilogy. How does this theme play out in this film, and how was it important for you to broach this subject, and how was it for your actors actually to embody these characters who are asking questions about their male identity?
I think to start with your last question, I think for the male actors it was quite interesting, because there were things that they hadn't thought through before, and they had to challenge themselves a bit about how they regard their own gender and how they regard their own sexuality, and also what they think about attraction, really, how, if it's possible to be attracted to things that they don't really recognize as something they were thinking that they could be attracted to. And I think it's certainly like that for me. I can feel attraction to people and things that comes sometimes as a surprise to me, because it wasn't in my mind that I should be attracted to that kind of persons or things. So that was, I think, quite challenging and interesting for the actors. But I had a conversation with the man who is the leader of the health organization for the LGBTQ community in Norway, and they are monitoring, tests for HIV, and there are a lot of people that comes in to do the tests, and then they also are monitoring what kind of identity the different people have. And he said that the biggest group is the men who has sex with other men without identifying themselves as gay or bisexual. They identify themselves as straight men who just want to have sex with other men. And I think that was really interesting, that group was so big. And so that was my approach to the first film, really, that this kind of underlying gay sexuality that exists there, or I call it gay. They wouldn't, probably. And so that would be the theme of the first film. And the second film, it's about a girl who also explores her sexuality and don't really think about identity at all. She just, she falls in love with a person, and she really reacts very strongly, and it's very, fall deeply in love. And when people around her are beginning to link this up to identity, she doesn't really understand it, why she has to, regard herself as lesbian, even if she's in love with a woman. And in the third film, it's more directly about, gay and straight sexuality, about gay people who have a sexual practice that may differ from how straight people have a sexual practice, and trying to get this kind of have a conversation about that, how these things differ, and if they could meet, if they could learn something from each other. Yeah, that that was my main idea for the whole project.
Thank you so much, Dag Johan. This is very interesting, and I hope this will be enlightening for the audiences who have already seen Sex, and maybe will entice more audiences to watch the film. Thanks again, and thanks again for those who are watching these interviews. I guess I'll see them at the next installment of this series. Thank you so much again. Bye.